Hello guys, good morning. How are you doing? Well, good afternoon or good evening as well. It all depends on what time you're watching this video. Well, first of all, I want to congratulate you all and I want to say that I'm really proud of you because you are working in your houses. I know it has been difficult. It's also difficult for me, but we have to continue learning, right? I know that when everything happens, we're going to continue working the same way that we're doing. So don't feel down, don't feel sad, because if you have any questions, you can let me know, okay? I'll be here working with you. So I decided to do this video because maybe for some of you grammar is something really easy to understand, but maybe for some others it's more difficult or complicated, okay? So first things first. Do you remember what we were talking about before the coronavirus situation? No? Well, we were talking about these three different columns. I, my, and mine. Do you remember now? Great. Now, I told you that my and mine are used to indicate possession, right? Well, if you know them by heart, if you memorize them, then I must tell you that you're doing a good job. Now, I didn't tell you what this one is for, I. But you somehow already know that, right? You know that I is always or most of the times in the beginning of the sentence. Why? Because it is this person that is always doing the action, right? And that's what we're going to check. How do we know when to use I and me? M-I-M-E, sorry. How do you know the difference between I and me? Well, the difference is that one is part of the subject and the other is part or is an object, okay? But how does that work, teacher? Don't worry, it's really easy, okay? Remember, I always tell you, it's easy as long as you pay attention, okay? Let's check this first sentence. You and I should go to the cinema. Why I and why not me? Well, I know it sounds weird, and you can say, teacher, it's because you don't say you and me. Well, yes, I know, but we need to know why exactly, right? So, first question, what is the main action of the sentence? If you said go, yes, you are correct. That's the main action. If you say should, well, remember should is part of the helping verbs. They are only helping the main action. But the main action is go to the cinema, right? So once we have identified the main action, we know that everything that is before is part of the subject, and everything that is after go, it's part of the predicate. It's really easy. My first suggestion is, in your sentences, identify the main action. Once you have the main action, then you are going to know whether to use I or me, M-E. Well, in this case, where is the I? Is it before or after the action? Before, yes. So it is you and I because both people are subjects. If it was after the action, then it would be different, right? But that's another thing. Now, let me show you the difference with another sentence, okay? Here we have, Jake asked me to help him. Can you identify the main action? If you said asked, then you are correct. If you said to help, well, it's also an action, but it's not the main action. It's not what Jake is doing. Remember, in this case, Jake is the subject. Okay? Why? Because it is before the action which is asked. In this case, I cannot say Jake asked I, because that sounds weird. And also because in this case, I am not doing the action. I am receiving the action. That's why I say Jake asked me to help him. Okay? That's an easy way to see it, right? So it's not really that difficult, right? Once you have the main action identified, it's really easy to know whether it is I or me. Of course, I can give you a lot of sentences. For example, Karime invited me to her birthday party. Why me? Well, because it is I am receiving the action. I am receiving the invitation. Okay? But if Karime and I are planning to have a party and we want to invite you, then it's going to be a different story because we're going to say Karime and I invite you to our party, right? In that case, you are receiving the action and not me. Now, let me tell you something else before we continue with the other. I want to give you more sentences or more examples because identifying the main action is not the only tip that I want to give you. There is also another tip. The next suggestion that I want to give you is also sometimes you're going to have a sentence like the one that I have found in your worksheets that say, come with me, I need the company. Well, in this case, the structure of the sentence is a little bit different, right? But there is one thing that you can do not to get confused, and it has to do with these words. Words like with, on, between, next to me, or for. Of course, they are more, but they are called prepositions, and they give us information about place. Yes, about the place that we have. For example, let me give you some sentences. Teacher Louie is between the green cap and the marker. The pen is on me. The pen is under me. Let's imagine that this board is my friend, okay? And Mr. Board is with me giving class, okay? Or one more, and remember, we have fanboys, but fanboys are different. Let's imagine that Pamela comes to me and she says, hey, Mr. Louis, I bought you a present. I have a present, a gift for you. Ah, for doesn't mean in this case because. In this case, we can use for as a preposition. This notebook is for me. Okay? So as you can see, I am still receiving the action somehow. Okay? So if you have any of these words that tell you something about place, location, or something else, try to identify them in your sentences as well. And it will help you because if you see one of these words, you are going to know that it is me and never I. I have a present for me. Or I have a book for me. Okay? I don't know. Let me give you some more examples. Iñaki wrote a letter for me. Manuel did a drawing with me. I am, or no, let me say, mm, he, Roy, is sitting between me and Iker. Okay? So as you can see, every time that you see these words, if you see them, it's probably me. Okay, guys? So what I want you to do in your homework is the next thing. Mark the action verbs. Okay? Identify the main action of the sentences. Underline them. And two, if you find any of these words with, between, in, on, under, for, next to, if you find those words, also circle them, okay? Because they are going to help you to understand better the difference between I and me. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate and send me a message, okay? I'm going to be checking you and I hope that you have fun learning English, okay? This was Mr. Louie and I see you in our next episode. Enjoy the quarantine with your family, okay? And please take care. See you next time, okay?